55. Bollocks. Episode 65 of season 4, which puts us 4 episodes away from the end of season 4 and the beginning of season 5. What? I'm just trying to sort my hair out. The humidity is doing my hair no favours. No favours whatsoever, but let's ignore that. Anyway, welcome to the show. I forgot to pick up the papers. Here are the papers. Got them. Right, so today I got hold of... good afternoon, Mark. I did enjoy the art. It was good. She did some good art. The painting was called Gavin, and then in parentheses she'd put apologies to anyone called Gavin. Mojo's still going, and Mojo's going. Q, where I used to work, was... killed off, but Mojo is still going because boomer love for articles about the Beach Boys remains. So yeah, I got 4 papers today, but we're not doing a 4-paper show because it's a magazine special. So we won't be doing The Guardian today. That's the front cover of The Guardian. MPs criticise systematic failure of police to improve record on race. Shock news there, shocking to anyone who's been asleep, I don't know, forever. And Sinister Lee steps up to take gymnastics gold. Also, a follow-up on the Pegasus Project story. They say that Defence Ministry officials visited the offices of the NSO group near Tel Aviv on Wednesday to check them. Yeah, right. So anyway, that's Guardian. We're not doing that today. We've done The Guardian quite a lot this week. In the papers, we will be doing The Times, The Sun, and The Daily Mail, the true trilogy of turgid awfulness. Yes. By the way, I managed to thoroughly bleach stain my Han Solo t-shirt while cleaning a bathroom, so that was unfortunate. Anyway, me and Hans are going to start by looking... Not Hans. Imagine if Super Hans was in Star Wars. There's a bit. Hey, Chris Brandrick. Mojo still going one thing, but physical CD on the cover. I know. I have to. If I want to get the tracks off this, I have to find and plug in the USB CD drive I have. Imagine that. Anyway, it's quite a good CD. Weird picture of Annie, aka St. Vincent, on the front there. Right. So front page. This front cover of Mojo is a kind of wild picture of. I mean, it's odd to say a wild picture of David Bowie, but it is a wild picture of David Bowie somehow dressed as an Egyptian pharaoh. The headline: The Riddle of David Bowie. He was like a volcano about to erupt. This front cover on cover story. Pinned on the 50th anniversary of Hunky Dory. Chronotherm, St. Vincent's current 70s phase is deliberately weird. No, yes, true, but I just mean the choice of picture by Mojo for that, because if you look, it's like really low res. I really like St. Vincent, but then I'm a 37-year-old man. It's like it's fully in my wheelhouse. Right. So elsewhere on the front page, I mean this cover This edition could have been made for me. Nirvana, bigger than the Beatles, Manic Street Preachers, 30 years of hatred and delusion. I don't wish to recall that the Manics have been around 30 years. It makes me feel old because I am increasingly old. War of the Worlds, Rocks, Martian Chronicles. Again, I love War of the Worlds. Springsteen, I'm a late 30s man. Of course, I like Springsteen. The Hollies, well, you've lost me there. And Bill Evans, well, I like Bill Evans. Right. Inside the magazine, we get an advert for... the latest deluxe edition of a Prince record. It's the previously unreleased album, Welcome to America. The deluxe edition is insane looking, as these deluxe editions are. On the contents page, one of the photos from the Nirvana Nevermind cover shoot. Those photos and the outtakes are around all the time. They've run a quote from Kurt Cobain that said, "There's no rebellion in rock and roll anymore. Maybe what we need is a new generation gap." Well, imagine what he'd be saying if he was still alive. Nothing I think that would make us think more of him. Imagine if Kurt Cobain had Twitter. I feel like it would have gone terribly wrong. Anyway, then there's an ad for a Mojo special on Queen. The kid from the Nevermind cover crops up every few years. Yes, Spencer. I've actually talked to him before. Anyway, the CD is called Oh You Pretty Things. It's 15 chamber pop nuggets. slightly let down by the presence of the ever-execrable Father John Misty. In the interview section, we've got Jacob Dylan hawking his latest record. Mickey Bereni, formerly of Lush, she has got a new band called Perushka, and the album is called Love Drips and Gathers. Toxicate Devlin, person in the room in the chat, Queen are underrated, or so I'm told. Yes, my dad insists on saying that Queen are underrated, partially because he saw them on one of their early tours in the Taunton Odeon around the time that they released Seven Seeds of Rye. Also in the interview section, Phil Manzera of Roxy Music. He has got a new record out with Tim Finn called Caught by the Heart. Farage's Fuckface says, Mojo being written for middle-aged men makes a lot of sense. It's what it exists for. Chronotherm, given how Chris Novoselic turned out, I'm glad we don't have Cobain's current thoughts. Yeah, this is the risk, isn't it? Anyway, I know some people who work at Mojo as well, so I'm slightly warm towards it. Andrew Mail, who's an excellent person, is the senior associate editor there, so... and was always really nice to me. When Joni met Jimmy, found in a tape hoarder's secret stash the real Hendrix recorded of Mitchell in Ottawa in 1968. But how did it happen? So he made a tape of her playing a gig at the Lehigh Coffee House in Ottawa. So it's not of him talking or whatever. It's literally just a tape he made. And he wrote in his diary, went down to a little club to see Joni. Fantastic girl with heaven words. We all got to party, listened to a tape and smoked up at hotel. And then from the 20th of March, we left Ottawa City today. I kissed Joni goodbye. It's Mitch Mitchell recording his memoir, Jimi Hendrix Inside the Experience. The tape recorder and tapes were stolen the next day. End of story on that. McLeish has no idea how Patterson obtained the tape. In his later years, his friend suffered from dementia and always kept his collection close. Mark Canosis says there's a subset of Tumblr Twitter who insist Cobain was trans. Yeah, I'm not sure that there's evidence for that. I don't think he was even... He liked to sort of imply that he was bi, but I don't think he was even bi. Not to police the sexuality of a man who's been dead for many years. Elvis Costello has made a remake of this year's Model, but his 1978 album, and done it in Spanish for some reason. What else have we got here? Amorphous Androgynous have got a new record coming out, which they describe as sonic wangery. It's also got Paul Weller on it. I mean, can you make a record without Paul Weller being involved somehow? Gary Kemp talks about going solo and his 5 favourite songs about London. Ian Hunter's Nightingale sang in version of Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. Of course, the canonical version of that is Mark from Peep Show singing it. The Clash is London Calling, obviously. David Bowie, the London Boys, Noel Coward, London Pride, and the Kinks' Waterloo Sunset. Pretty basic list of London songs there. Chronotherm, if Paul Weller makes music and Mojo doesn't cover it, does it exist? It's true. Studying Fangirl, fun fact about CDs. Sharidi supermarkets still sell CDs because that population often don't use the internet. That is an interesting fact. Take Toxicate Devlin, Paul Weller is featured in Mojo, as sure as Loose Ends features Squeeze. And I know how much you love Squeeze. Let's talk to, let's see, what else have we got? The band that they recommend, W.H. Long, Manchester's new King Monkeys. We do need a replacement King Monkey because Ian Brown's now King Dickhead. And also the Shadracks, Garage Rock Royalties, Chosen Son turns on the heat with Next Gen Punks. This is because the main guy in this band, 21-year-old Huddy Hamper, is the son of Billy Childish. Actually, I've listened to them, they're pretty good. In the Mojo interview, they talk to Nicky Wire. Keith Cameron interviews him. With 4 strings and a feather boa, the Manic Street Preacher's iconic Minister of Aggravation carries on the culture count while reflecting on loss and longevity. You are allowed to build bands on hatred and delusion, insists Nicky Wire. Quite a good photo of him. Fry's fuckface. Imagine being a new punk unless you're a pop punk. That's good. Yeah, they're kind of like like a 50s-y garage rock band, to be honest, rather than punkish. Nicky Wire, big quote, pull-out quote from Nicky Wire. I'm always dubious about people who say they have no regrets. I have millions. I deeply regret some mad things, just awful things I said. Yes, there was a few of those. They relitigate what records are good from the Manics, giving Generation Terrorist 4 stars. This Is My Truth, Tell Me Yours, 4 stars. And his solo album, I Killed the Zeitgeist, 3 stars. Never listened to the Nicky Wire solo album. The Hollies... The road is long, says the headline. With voices like in heavenly sync, the Hollies made evergreen pop until songwriting drug differences and David Crosby sowed disharmony. Yet through splits and riffs, the group's prime movers are still with us and primed to reclaim their legacy. We are always the underrated underdogs, they tell John Hazelwood. Mark notices Billy Childish invented chat pop. I will not be elaborating, or that would make him so mad. Anyway, a good number of pages on the Hollies. If you really care about that, I don't, to be honest. New artists are introducing Faye Webster, R&B for homebodies, Americana for hipsters. Atlanta's Obama endorsed Yo-Yo Pro. Faye Webster doesn't mind what you call her as long as she's improving. And at 23, she's come a long way fast. Her philosophy, first thought, best thought. It doesn't have to be perfect, she tells Alison Fensterstock, which is a great name for a music journalist. And sometimes it's better when it's not. I mean, I could have made a bit more effort with the picture there. She's got tons of records out. I'm not familiar with her, but I don't know. She looks cool. Devlin says, lovely as it's been to see our living room from this angle, I need to go because my flight now is a gate. Goodbye, laters, papers. Bye, see you later. My Foolish Heart, Bill Evans article. Bill Evans was the most poetic and individual piano player in jazz. Miles' muse on Kind of Blue, a sonic visionary, but his inner sadness seemed to invite personal catastrophe. Oh, Mojo, they love a bit of inner sadness inviting personal catastrophe. Anyway, lots of good pictures of Bill Evans looking like, a jazz guy doing a lot of smoking. Pages and pages of that. On stage for at least 5 decades, Bruce Springsteen has known few peers, and looking up at him since 1974 has been photographer Janet McCosker, tracing his transformation from grease monkey to megastar. He's the preacher, she tells Danny Eccleston, and there's always that revival energy. So, yeah, some good pictures of Bruce, if you like that sort of thing, which, admittedly I do. Smells Like Victory. Can there be more to say about Nirvana? Well, let's see. Dorian Linsky writes, Smells Like Victory. In 1991, Nirvana changed popular music with an album that defined a generation. See, I love Nirvana, right? And that record's a great record. I prefer In Utero because I'm a miserable cunt. But the other thing is, Pearl Jam sold more records. Far, far more records. So if you want to say, defined a generation, 10 probably defined a generation far more than Nevermind ever did. It's not an argument anyone wants to hear, but tag yourself on the cover, says Studying Fangirl. I'm You Pretty Things. I am Manic Street Preacher. Farage's fuck face. Is there anything new to say? Dorian is here to show there isn't. 30 years on, Nevermind looms larger and sounds more powerful than ever. Does it? Difficult. I find that record, it's like something, you hear it and you think, oh yeah, there's some good stuff on there. But it doesn't, I don't know, it's an album full of overplayed songs. Anyway, gone back to the classic outtake pictures from the Nevermind session. Mark Nosis says Dorian Linsky blocks him on Twitter for posting, here is a man without hair, he suggests nothing, picture at him. Right, Kurt Novoselic, Chris Novoselic, Kurt Novoselic, I was reading the first line of the quote and then the end. Chris Novoselic says, Kurt was really excited. Check this out. I just tweaked the song. He played in Bloom over the phone, and there's this big chorus all of a sudden. Dave was young, enthusiastic, and he could sing. It was a real kick in the ass to the band, says Craig Montgomery. Then they talk about, then he does various records. The US rock mainstream versus its insurgents. Out of Time, a #1 record. Metallica, a #1 record. The Black Album. Smashing Pumpkins, Gish, US chart peak, 195, fuck you, Billy. Pearl Jam, US chart peak #2, Skid Row #1, Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 2 and 1, Van Halen for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, number 1. Red Hot Chili Peppers, US chart peak 3. And Mudhoney, US chart peak not applicable, but it got to number 34 with Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge in the UK. And Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger, hit number 39. The notion, right, is Mojo nothing but old music? No, they do talk about new bands, and we just mentioned a feature where there was one. Are there any mention of Riot Girl bands? No, but there should be, with a huge influence on Kurt Cobain. Gish is an underrated record. Pantomime Horse, do young people buy magazines? Some of them do, yeah. We covered a couple. We've covered magazines in the past that are like Hark, for instance, that is entirely focused or pushed towards a younger audience, and it's a great magazine. When the record was done, they loved it. It wasn't until it became massive hit that they started to disown it. It's a bit Butch Vig quote I've read elsewhere. Then we get a little panel talking about what happened after Nevermind. This is, I mean, you know, it's what Mudhoney. I like Mudhoney. They were fine, right? Studying Fangirl says, my sisters and I love magazines, but Israeli import tax. Mark Kenosis in with his controversial take that the best Seattle band was Swallow. Then we've got a oral history of War of the Worlds, the Jeff Wayne album. I've got to be honest, I fucking love War of the Worlds because I loved it as a kid. This is an interesting. This is a good article. Like, I love an oral history. Stunning Fangirl. Ooh, imagine a 17 magazine special. Could be done. More from that weird photo thing. They've decided to go vertical for this another picture of David Bowie as a weird pharaoh. In 1971, David Bowie looked a spent force, reeling from another flop. Denizens of his inner circle, however, saw another side. An artist possessed by creativity and productivity at a new level on the way to his first great masterpiece, Hunky Dory. He was like a volcano about to erupt, they tell Tom Doyle. I mean, do we, you know, 30 years on from Nevermind and 50 years on from Hunky Dory, like, there's nothing left to say. Red Six Seed says, have you seen the footage of Keith being bright puce? I have not. Mark Canosis says David Bowie was on the cusp of an era of ever younger sexual partners. There's obviously a box out, a full page box out about the design of the cover. Roger's fuckface, Keith making Akehurst look as pale as me, Jesus. Anyway, pages of that on Hunky Dory. In the review section, Villagers, Conor O'Brien's new set of heavenly melodies, they say, gets 4 stars. Nathan Solzberg's new record, Psalms, folk artist, gets 4 stars. Lucinda Chua's Antidotes, London-based singer-songwriter, cellist, explores ambient R&B, gets 4 stars. Dot Allison's new record gets 4 stars, called Heart-Shaped Scars. Hey, thank you, Milk Extremism, for resubscribing. Appreciate the love. Thank you very much. I'm going to have a look at Keith in a minute. GA20s, does Hound Dog Taylor try it? You might like it. Tribute to Unsung Blues Band by the band led by Charlie Musselwhite's guitarist, gets 4 stars. I'm just reading out all the 4 stars, basically. Jackson Brown's new record gets 4 stars. Torres' record, Thirstier, Florida-born songwriter's 10 new tracks for post-plague celebration, gets 4 stars. Very many 4 stars. Clint Mansell, the excellent Clint Mansell's latest soundtrack LP, In the Earth, gets 4 stars. They say it could be his best. In the reissues, the Feel Flows, the Sunflower and Surf's Up sessions of the Beach Boys 69 and 71 gets 4 stars. The suddenly rediscovered Prince album, Welcome to America, gets 4 stars and it's called An Unforeseen Burst of Funky Social Commentary. PJ Harvey and John Paris is A Woman, a Man Walked By, their second collaboration from 2009, gets a reissue, and that's a 4-star one. Studying Fangirl, we are not post-plague. Yes, I agree. For its silver anniversary, an overlooked masterpiece returns on vinyl. This is Lewis Taylor's album Lewis Taylor. It's remastered in double vinyl edition. Leslie Winners, When I Hit You, You'll Feel It. Trip Hop Progenitor Anthologize, featuring contributors including John Hassel and Jar Wobble. That gets 4 stars. D. Nice Williams is Free, the Columbia Arc Recordings. Denise D. Nice gets 4 stars. The insane 50th birthday reissue of All Things Must Pass. Look at the package; it's mental. Gets 5 stars. Some of the outtakes on there are phenomenal, to be fair. An eclectic selection of music from the Arab world, Part 2. All the Egyptian organ, Libyan reggae, and Moroccan disco you need. Gets 4 stars. I want that record. Also, look at the picture. This picture is phenomenally 70s. A reissue of Mose Allison's the complete Atlantic Electra albums. That gets 5 stars. Scritti Politi's Cupid and Psyche 85 is deemed the vinyl package of the month. The Heads record, Relaxing With, gets 4 stars and is described as a reissue of that is described as drug damaged, diesel huffing debut from Bristol's Psychedelic Noisers. Who doesn't love a psychedelic noiser? Andrew Collins looks at Kevin Coyne's records, tracing his route from anarchic art school bluesman to kind-eyed troubadour. I love these ones where they get look through a whole discography of an artist. In the buried treasure section, they highlight Blackbeard's record Iwa Dub, which came out in 1980, found in music's Catacomb of Mystery, a Brit-based concept album of a reggae night on the tiles. I haven't heard that record, but I want to hear that record now. The Sparks Brothers, Edgar Wright's documentary about Sparks gets a lukewarm review from Andrew Mail, who says, how many talking heads does it take to unveil the brothers' Mail? Cast of characters Edgar Wright has assembled to speak for the genius of Ron and Russell Mail in this 2-hour-plus career documentary is impressive. Beck, Mike Myers, Giorgio Moroder, Todd Rundgren, Jane Wiedlin, Flea, Jason Schwartzman, Amy Sherman Palladino, Patton Oswalt. The list goes on. It's worth mentioning because these talking heads, who are largely here to hymn the band's brilliance rather than, as in Moroder's case, talk about working with them, take up a significant portion of the film. Gradually, you come to understand why. Firstly, Wright is a Sparks fan. It's very much a fanboy film. We're here to hear what the great and good about how and why they love these two men, suffice to say. If you are also a dedicated Sparks fan, you will be in heaven. You get the full biography plus a complete breakdown of each of the 25 studio albums, something that hardly ever happens in music career retrospectives. Will lead us to the second reason why the Sparks Brothers' film concerned as much about the voices of others as with the voices of Ron and Russell. If the surface image of Sparks is one of eccentricity and otherworldly oddness, with Adolf Hitler on keyboards, as Steve Jones put it, then the root truth is that here is a band who have kept going for 50 years, operating at an impressive level of genius, because music and routine is their life, and that makes for very few interesting tales out of school. And pretty soon, the story becomes album, tour, album, etc. Wright is blessed with the fact that every Spark performance and video from the 70s looks incredible. There's a wonderful photo archive available where he spends a long time working certain ideas into the ground. Fans who thought they were English, a repeated gag in which the band invent numerous interesting facts about themselves. Good insights are made, such as significance played by the early death of their father and a mother who took them to see the Beatles twice, the influence of Hollywood, its narratives, jingles, cartoons, and big screen brashness. But the further the documentary goes on, the more you feel, as Jason Schwartzman points out, the group's mystique is in danger of fading away. I'm still going to see that. I once went for a drink with the members of Sparks, and it was one of the highest professional honours I have ever received. Mark Kenosis, Flea gets everywhere. Remembering Ron Mail's Never Mind the Buzzcocks appearance, says Mark Kenosis, Farage's fuck faces. Sparks used to get bullied by the other 70s pop bands, if I recall. I have heard that, yeah. There's a new book out called Wild Thing, the short spellbinding life of Jimi Hendrix, because we absolutely needed another book about Jimi Hendrix. In the obituaries, John Hassel, trumpeter, theorist, and pioneering pan-global ecologist, has died. Peter Zinoviev gets an obituary from Mojo. I know Mark Kenosis will appreciate that. Gift of Gab, the poetic rap technician, born Timothy Parker, the Blackalicious rapper. Gift of Gab was known as Tiny Tim when he met DJ and lifelong creative Foil Chief XL at the University of California. He died of natural causes, leaving behind nearly 100 unreleased tracks. Ellen McIlwain, the bluesy folk funk guitarist, died. We've covered her a bit in the papers before. And Patrick Sky, folk singer and satirist, has also died. His last album was 2009's Down to Us. Chronotherm says, I've never been more jealous of any human than I am of you drinking with the Mail Brothers. They were just really nice. They were just really nice. So that was good. 2 more obits. David R. Edwards, Welsh underground legend, and Dean Parrish have also passed away. In a Time Machine, they look back to August 1977 and the recording of Donna Summer's I Feel Love. The Pistols tour, the Secret Pistols tour, Sex Pistols on tour secretly, the Spots tour, and the Farewell to the King, the death of Elvis Presley. In Ask Mojo, people ask about such things as about how the 2008 Universal fire destroyed so many artists' master tapes. The cover of the Byrds, Notorious Byrds Brothers, and the Norwegian version of The Who's Run, 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 which suddenly plays backwards at the end. So yeah, it's just sad news about Dean Parrish. And on the back page, hello, goodbye, the story of how Kirk Brandon and Theatre of Hate came to be a band and why he left. So that is Mojo. Basically, right, if you're anywhere from 35 upwards and you like music, you'll like it. This cover is bizarre to me, genuinely bizarre. I found it deeply off-putting. I do still think that the design ethic and aesthetic of Mojo could do with an upgrade, and sometimes I cannot manage another Nirvana feature. Still, I give it a 7 out of... No, I give it an 8 out of 10. It does a great job of doing what it's designed to do, and the review section is really solid. Doesn't Theatre of Hate's origin story involve a flash of inspiration after being fucked by Boy George? I think that might have been Spirit of Destiny. But as you say in your... Summer 1980 is when they came together. The name had nothing to do with Artaud's Theatre of Cruelty. Shame. And they were asked to go on tour with the Rots. There you go. 6 out of 9 feels fairly solid, says Red Tixie. Yeah, I think it's a solid magazine that does its job. It's not offensive. It often picks some really good photography out of the archives, this not being one of them. Right, okay. I'm going to do the Times next, then I'm going to speed run through the Sun, and we will finish with the Daily Mail. And if you are, as I hope you are, mildly disturbed by the image mock-up of Nigel Farage competing in the Nathan's hot dog eating competition, I urge you to read today's newsletter, which will make it make sense, and I think it's got some quite good jokes in it as well. Farage's fuckface gives Mojo 0 out of 10 for employing the bald bad man. Well, fair dues. brokenbottleboy.substack.com if you want to check out the newsletter. Remember, it's free to subscribe, but if you like it, upgrade. Lots of people have been upgrading recently, and that's hugely appreciated. Right, let's talk about the Times. Front page of the Times, the pop video that changed my life. We find out what those are from Caitlin Moran, Satnam Sanghera, and Hugo Rifkin. Who knows what they would be? Tory rebels fear activists will hijack animal sentience bill. Travel rules descend into French farce and power to pedestrians in revamped highway code. Again, you'll notice there's a lot of yellow on that front page because the Times often just serves as a conduit for for information briefed in by the government's enemies within the Tory party, and, other interested parties. Inside the paper, abandoned NHS power grab, former chairman tells Javid. Yeah, right. On page 3, this is sort of a oddly intriguing story. Mark Allen and Rhiannon Evans are going to end up playing each other in a tournament. Normally that wouldn't matter that much, but they have recently been in a court battle over child support payments to their teenage daughter from Alan, who hasn't been paying them, apparently. Alan, 35, from County Antrim, is also fighting a legal battle on another front with divorce proceedings against his estranged wife, Kyla McGuigan, with whom he also has a daughter. His career earnings of around $3.3 million from snooker, but he recently declared himself bankrupt. Far be it for me to say that, but it's a classic move by deadbeat dads to declare themselves bankrupt when they're being asked for alimony. Whittaker calls time in shake-up of Doctor Who, says the other story on that page. Disney feels the bite of the Black Widow. Scarlett Johansson is suing them over them breaching contract over how Black Widow was released. Legal defeat means death sentence for alpaca Geronimo. This is horrible news. Farm was told yesterday that her prized alpaca will be killed after a 4-year legal battle ended at the High Court. Helen MacDonald, who runs Alpaca Power, a breeding and stud business in Wicklow, Gloucestershire, took legal action against the government after the alpaca Geronimo was earmarked for slaughter after twice testing positive for bovine tuberculosis. MacDonald, 50, disputes the results and claims the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs is relying doggedly on flawed science. Rest in power, Geronimo. Military chiefs warn of space bullying by Russia and China. Space bullying. That has been written as a headline. China and Russia are carrying out threatening actions against Western satellites on a daily basis as part of a reckless pattern of behaviour. American and military chiefs have said, yes, please give us space lasers. That's what they want. Police are on the trail of 2 women dubbed the Rolex Rippers who are stealing watches from lone men while posing as charity workers. The pair have targeted men in their 70s in golf club car parks. It's believed that they have struck 14 times recently across Hampshire and Dorset. I just think that is a kind of reparations program. Team GB leads the field at just missing out on a medal place. So lots of people have nearly got medals but didn't. Mark Kenosis is disappointed that the alpaca isn't being killed for mauling a child. Lone child migrants sent to hotels. Disgusting news, but yeah. Lilith, the Miscaria says, those women are my heroines. Studying Falco says, hell yes, space lasers. Vaccine passport for British venues added to NHS app. Look forward to the Daily Mail losing its shit about that when we get round to that. Stormzy is funding more scholarships to Cambridge because he is brilliant. Theft allegations are defamatory, claims Russian oil state. Rosneft, the Russian oil company, has told the High Court that allegations it was involved in the organised theft of a corporate rival are defamatory. Love to defame a Russian oil company. English tea plantation bags bumper crop in heatwave. The recent heatwave has made England's only tea plantation grow a bumper crop that matches yields from the finest bushes in India and Kenya. Tregothlan Tea Garden in Cornwall prides itself in being the first in hundreds of years to grow tea leaves on home soil. Whoopee-doo. Prison for crash cyclist who left man dying in road. An Albanian cyclist who hit a pensioner and left him to die because he feared police would discover he had entered Britain illegally has been jailed. Why? While they're obsessing over immigration, do you think this story's getting so much play in the Times? Quentin Letts is awful. We don't spend time on him. Mark Kenosis, Stormzy could be funding a protracted people's war against the existing social order embodied by Cambridge, but fair play to him. Yes. On page 19, teacher fired for opposing trans head pupil. There's more to this story, but would you know it from the Times? Of course you fucking wouldn't. Let's see what the Times... I'm not even... Anyway, read up yourself on that story. The Times distorting it as ever. Baby beaver born after 600-year wait. Baby beaver has been born in Norfolk for the first time in more than 600 years. 2 pairs of beavers were introduced at Wild Kent Hill near Heacham on the North Norfolk coast last year. A baby beaver known as Kit has since been captured on camera paddling through water at night. Beavers produce 3 offspring on average, so conservationists hope there are more. A post on Wild Ken Hill's website said, incredibly exciting news. Trail cameras inside the beaver enclosure at Wild Ken have spotted beaver. A beaver, I was being a dick. Anyway, there is the beaver. No, that's a man. There is the beaver. It's fucking hell. There it is. No, the Times' old nemesis, Nuance, is studying Fangirl. Drug firm fined £100 million after Times expose. A drug company exposed by the Times for raising the price of a life-changing drug from 16 pence to £9.22 per tablet has been fined more than £100 million. Yeah, I bet that makes no difference to that company whatsoever. It takes a special kinds of guts to survive this century, apparently. People who live to 100 and may have a secret weapon in their gut, a blend of microbes that contributes to longevity. Grand. The bad news for Douglas Murray. The National Holocaust Memorial has received planning permission and will be built in Victoria Tower Gardens next to the Houses of Parliament, despite local protests. Oleana at the Arts Theatre gets 5 stars. Although lots of people in the industry are saying that barely anyone is buying tickets for that. In the comment pages, James Forsyth just jots down what his wife tells him. NHS waiting list could scupper the Tories. Will it really? Bet it doesn't. What sluggish Britain can learn from Poland. Here is a really disgusting opening paragraph from Emma Duncan. When Poles started flooding into Britain after their country's accession to the EU in 2004, that's all you need to know. That first line, that tells you how she thinks, right? By the way, we didn't complain when Poles started flooding into Spitfires during the Second World War. A disgrace, but capital assault was no coup, says Jared Baker. Fuck off, Jared Baker. It was only not a coup because it didn't work. Birthdays today. James Anderson, the cricketer for Lancashire and England, is 39. Paul Anker, the singer-songwriter, is 80. Professor Stephen Blackmore, Her Majesty's botanist in Scotland, is nice, 69. Peter Bogdanovich, the director, is 82. Sir Peter Bottomley, the Conservative MP for Worthing West, father of the House of Commons and former Northern Ireland minister, is 77. Kate Bush, happy birthday to her particularly, she is 63. Theresa Cahill, the opera singer, is 77. Ian Callum, the design director at Jaguar until 2019, is 67. Hannah Cockcroft, the athlete and 5-time Paralympic gold medalist in the T34 event and world record holder, is 29. Kenton Cool, the mountaineer who's climbed Everest 15 times, is 48. Frances Delatour, the actress and 3-time Olivier Award winner, is 77. Lawrence Fishburne, the actor in the Matrix trilogy, is 60. Sophie Grable, the actress, is 53. Wing Commander Andy Green, world land speed record holder since 1997, is 59. Harriet Harman QC, the MP for Camberwell and Peckham and leader of the Labour Party in 2015, she was interim leader, is 71. Kate Hobhouse, chairwoman of Fortnum and Mason, is 59. Lisa Kudrow, the actress, is 58. Adam Marshall, the Director General of the British Chambers of Commerce, is 43. Patrick Modiano, the novelist, is 76. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 2014. Christopher Nolan, the filmmaker, is 51. Tom Piddock, the cyclist, Olympic gold medalist in the men's mountain bike cross-country race, is 22. Jean Reno, the actor known for Leon, amongst other things, is 73. Jason Robinson, the former England Rugby Union World Cup winner, is 47. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the actor and former governor of California, is 74. Sir Clive Sinclair, inventor of the pocket calculator and many other things, is 81. Hope Solo, the US footballer and 2-time Olympic gold medalist and World Cup winner, is 40. And Daley Thompson, decathlete, Olympic gold medalist, is 63. On this day in 762, the capital of the city of Baghdad was founded by Abbasid Caliph al-Mansur. In 1966, on this day, England won the World Cup. The last word today goes to Thomas Middleton, the Jacobean playwright in Hengist, King of Kent, which was written in the 1610s but published in 1661. Justice may wink a while, but see at last. Mark Kenosis, the Kate Bush is a Tory thing is based on lib-brain quasi-feminist shit she said about Theresa May. Yeah, that's true. She's not really a Tory. She's not really a Tory. Happy birthday to Lisa Kudrow. Chronotherm botanist in Scotland definitely slang for being gay. Afghans on the march to Europe as Taliban advance is the loaded headline from the Times. Malta's culture of impunity led to death of journalist. Inquiry finds. Yeah, culture of impunity, aka corruption. US Army looks to navigate like birds. The US military wants to harness the ability of migratory birds to fly great distances at night without getting lost to help it fight wars without satellite navigation. Right. Keep drilling, say Alaskans on oil's Arctic frontier. Hush puppy fraudster admits all. Nigerian Instagram celebrity who had an inexplicable rise from Lagos street hawker to a penthouse in Dubai pleaded guilty to conning a fortune from his victims in a series of cyber heists. Ramon Abbas, 37, styled himself Hush Puppy, P-U-P-P-I, an extravagant social media persona that he used to dupe targets all over the world, a court in California was told. He faced up to 20 years in jail and a prospect of repaying some of those he swindled after admitting money laundering and running a fraudulent email racket. I just don't believe those people had that money in the first place, if they were fooled out of it that easily. Mark Canosis says, I'm sure the factors leading to the death of that journalist, assuming it's the Panama Papers women, were entirely limited to Malta. Yes, the journalist in question was Caruana Galizia, who relentlessly accused Maltese politicians and officials of corruption in her running commentary blog. She was blog as well, running times blog. On her running commentary website, it had vexed because an early election in 2017 by publishing allegations linking Muscat to the Panama Papers scandal, which exposed the use of tax havens by the rich. Yes, as Mark says, just limited to Malta, that one. Google Kate Bush to listen to some music, and this was the first result. Pink News, Kate Bush anal sex. Right, am I gonna open this? I'm gonna open this. What did she have to say in 2017? Kate Bush was singing about anal sex and Vaseline in the 1970s. The BBC wasn't having any of it. Oh, I forgot to see Red-Faced Keith. Hold on. Where is Red-Faced Keith? The bacteria makes you old thing. Did they check the bacteria of people who don't live to 100 to see if they don't have it, said Farage's fuckface. Yeah, I presumably... here it is. Red-faced. Oh God, it's really hard to scroll the chat back. Right, red-faced Keith. It's loading. I love that the first reply comes from Mark Kark saying, "Why is he so red?" He is so red. He's trying to gammonify himself, jambonning his way into government. That's the strategy, right? We were conned, admits Australia as it hands back looted Indian art. Really conned, was it? Peru swears in fifth leader in 5 years is the way the Times reports on Pedro Castillo's rise to power. Great picture of him in his excellent hat, of course, but why have they stuck such a good and interesting story on a bottom corner like that? Because, well, you know, because he's left-wing. Because he's left-wing. Keith looks like he's on the verge of tears in the video, yeah. Top sommelier in restaurant arson, United States, Peter Stubley and Will Pavia in New York. An award-winning sommelier has been charged with arson after he was allegedly caught on a security camera setting fire to the outdoor dining shelter of a pizza restaurant in Lower Manhattan. Fire was one of 3 allegedly started by Caleb Ganza, 35, managing partner of a nearby wine bar, according to the New York Fire Department. Footage from 2:55 a.m. July 13th showed a man holding a cigarette lighter beneath a napkin dispenser in a dining shed on Prince Street Pizza. As the flames glowed, he lit another box at the far end of the shed and strolled away. Investigators identified Ganser and established a connection to earlier occurrences that fit the same pattern. Police foil plot to steal a Queen's diamond necklace in France. Police say they foiled a plot to steal 217-carat diamond necklace made in 1939 for the Queen of Egypt, which is being exhibited in France. Okay, whoopee-doo. New Russian module causes emergency on space station. Here is a picture of Boris Johnson very naturally plugging in an electric car. Incredibly natural. In the Times 2, the pop video that changed my life. We're going to look at this one feature and to see what awful pop videos they chose. Hugo Rifkin chose U2's All I Want Is You, 1989. Really? Caitlin Moran claims Violet, 1994. Caitlin Moran was already on TV doing Naked City at that time, so I don't believe that that's the video that changed her life. Or is she trying to do a sort of age denial thing? Satnam Sangera says George Michael's Faith video was the one that changed his life. Robbie Millen says Bronski beats Small Town Boy. Will Hodgkinson says Michael Jackson's Thriller. I mean, these are all quite obvious, aren't they? David Bowie's China Girl is Alex O'Connell's video that changed his life. Of all the Bowie videos. Grace Jones, Pull Up to the Bumper, is picked by Leslie Thomas. Clive Davis goes for The Police, Walking on the Moon. Oh, these bland people. And James Marriott says Vampire Weekend's Cape Cod Coassa from 2008 because he is a young fogey. And Daniel Finkelstein refuses to pick one. He says, here's the problem. There isn't a pop video that changed my life, nor one that I love most. By the time God created MTV, pop had already changed my life. That happened when I was 10, and in 1972, I saw a group I thought was called Peter Parker and the Penguins play Sea Moon on Top of the Pops. My mum walked in and said, isn't that what's his name from the Beatles? And I fell for Paul McCartney and Wings. By 1981, when the trend turned to mini-dramas rather than sweet-miming blockbuster, I was already almost 30, and the videos seemed laughably mannered. When I watch back now, they seem even worse. Hilariously pompous singers, ham acting, and often absurdly literal takes. I think the pop video was a terrible wrong turn. A typical thing that a columnist would say. Yeah, and of course, of course Finkelstein opts for Wings, only the band the Beatles could have been. Right. In the business section, Satnam Sangera says the pandemic denied us the chance to work abroad, and that's a problem. Do you know what else denied us the chance to walk abroad? Fill that one in for yourself. Credit Suisse plays for lackadaisical attitude to risk, apparently. Anglo-American uses profit from higher prices to reward investors. Well, of course it does. BT feels heat amid fibre competition, really. And in the register, Lee Man Tat, Hong Kong billionaire and property magnate who made his fortune from oyster sauce, invented accidentally one day by his grandfather, has died. He was 91. And a good and decently sized obituary for the excellent Dusty Hill, the long-bearded, gun-toting bassist for ZZ Top, who the Times describe as the thunderous Texas blues rock band that dominated the charts in the 80s. I'm not sure about dominated the charts, but they were successful. And the last obituary goes to Penny Kemp, Green Party leader who secured an endorsement from Bianca Jagger and tried to forge an electoral pact with Jeremy Corbyn. She has died aged 72. And in the sport, Erasmus in video rant at test official. South African director of rugby offers to quit. And canoe star keeps flag flying high. Mallory Franklin won silver in the canoe slalom. And Matthew Coward Holly took bronze in trap shooting for Great Britain on day 7 in Tokyo. That is the Times. Give me your scores. Do you know what? I'm not even going to speed. Hey, SK the Crusader, how you doing? I'm not even going to speed run the Sun today. We're just going to do. We're just going to quickly jump through the headlines. The front page. We'll do the letters, and that'll do us for the Sun. Front page of the Sun. Test and trace. Flirt shock. Someone has exploited the test and trace system to send a flirty text to a woman. This happened quite often, but and is appalling, obviously. And the Sun wants to say it's an exclusive. Oh, good, just got lunch. What lunch have you got, SK? You can't just say you've got lunch. I need to know what lunch it is. Mark Kenosis gives the Times minus 69 sexual awakenings induced by the video for Bewitcher's C'est La Vie. The main story is sorry, I have not changed the. You got some Mac. Yeah, okay. More detail required. We need to judge your McDonald's choices. Front page. Katie Price was played to do an endorsement of some currency finance whiz who turned out to be a fraudster. Fans are angry at her. Fans lose thousands to Katie Price, con man. I think the Sun is on dubious lines there. Cheeseburger, double cheeseburger, chips, and the cheese bites. That is a cheese That is all cheese across the time. Love that. I'm gonna have McDonald's on my way to pick up the child from school now, aren't I? Yeah. What will I have? Probably a fillet of fish. I know. I'm a degenerate. Red Tick Seed gives it a double nice for my live reaction to Keith turning into an actual ham. Inside the paper on page 3 that isn't page 3 but is page 3. Gail's a real storm of Victoria's Secret's model Kelly Gale looks like she's ready for some bead room action. She's in a beaded thing, and they talk about who might be the next Doctor, claiming that the BBC wants a non-white Doctor to play a non-white actor to play the role, and they suggest that it might be Michaela Cole. Why would Michaela Cole need to do that part when she creates her own projects? You know, really. Keith is so red his colour is literally called tomato. Moving on through this. Pest and Trace is the headline they put on the front of the on that story about someone trying to flirt via the test and trace system. They look back at various people who did well in the X Factor, but now are no longer singers. Andy Abrahamson went back to being a bin man. Ray Quinn is a carpet fitter now. Katie Waisel is a personal trainer. Octavio Columbro from 2016 is a shop assistant. Gawin Ngu is a stylist. Same difference, run a performing arts school. Marcus Collins is an estate agent. Lucy Spraggan is a personal trainer. Frankie Kokoza is a builder. And Misha B is a painter. Good on all of them. They thought, like, why? How fucking judgmental do you want to be? The Sun. TV teaches parrot to swear. Uncritical support for this parrot. The parrot is called Paige. And the parrot will say things like, fuck off, fuck's sake, and fuck that. Suffolk Strangler is held on Vicky killing. Suffolk Strangler Stephen Wright has been arrested over the unsolved murder of a teenage girl more than 20 years ago. Serial killer was taken from top security Long Lartin jail in South Littleton, Worcestershire, to a police station to be quizzed at on the death of Victoria Hall. Airy flat, £1,000 a month, and you have to sleep in a cupboard. A Pokey Studio flat where the bed is in a windowless cupboard is on the market for more than £1,000 a month. That is not a funny story. That is an indication of how fucked this country is. Is sex a chore? Try our quickie fixes. Do it in the morning. Do it outside. Change your location. Have a wank. Stand up. Wear easy access underwear. Do the wheelbarrow position. Use toys. Masturbate with each other. Do it with most of your clothes on and role play. God, the Sun is written by the most vanilla people. Like, sex obsessed, yet so vanilla. And in Dear Deirdre, is baby hobbies or from beach fling? Menopause has made my loving wife turn nasty. Maybe you could help her more, you fuck. Nurse laughed at my tiny toddler. Nurse laughed at this man's penis, he claims. He said he's sure he heard a nurse snigger. And someone else worries that the death of a cat could have pushed their daughter over the edge. Well, This Kid Crusader. Oh, wow, roleplay. Why didn't I think of that? Imagine. Like, it's always the same basic shit. It's always the same shit they read in More magazine in the 90s. Mark Canosis. Change your location with ExpressVPN. Use promo code SUNSEX for the first month free. And in the letters, Jeanette Hughes says, X Factor boss Simon Cowell has made the right choice. The show had become stale. I much prefer watching The Voice. However, over 17 years, it's made many ordinary people celebrities. In that sense, you cannot knock it. I'm sure Simon has another million making deals in the offing. Go for it, Simon. That letter written either by a Sun journalist or by Simon Cowell himself. And in the sport, I do this again. No remorse from Lewis Hamilton on Max Crash. Of course not. He's a competitor. That's the Sun. It's a minus 69, 69, 69, 69. Quadruple negative nice. Farage as fuck face says he wants to find in these articles. I want there to be a random thing in the list where it's like, do doggy, choke them and spit on their face, try roleplay. Yeah. So just say something different from the same old shit you always write. Mark Canosis, try smashing a bedside lamp during sex. Right. Finally, we come to the Daily Mail. Again, I'm not going to do every story in this. We'll skip through to the main bits. Front page, how Simon's cash cow got the X factor. Yeah, well, it's because it ceased to be interesting. Main story, no jab, no job. Fury as vaccine passports on NHS app introduced. Fury in the Daily Mail office, they wish to translate to everyone else. Retixied, maybe try missionary on the other side of the bed. And of course, they've got Suffolk Strangler quizzed over murder of Vicky 17. On page 3, they have a go at Jodie Whittaker. Dr. Woke quits the TARDIS. Oh, fuck off. On page 5, Suffolk Strangler arrested over 1999 murder of Vicky, age 17. On pages 6 and 7, Olympics reports ex-BBC bosses blast lack of free coverage. It's not the fucking BBC's fault that Discovery bought it for over £900 million. If the BBC had paid an insane amount of money for it, the Daily Mail would find another way to be angry about that. Furious US cartoons Prince Charmless. TV satire on royal family shows George VIII as a foul-mouthed tyrant. Well, fuck 'em. I couldn't give a shit about that. Oh dear, what a shame. On pages 10 and 11, it's slagging off the French. On page 13, on page 15, Geronimo, the poor alpaca who's facing a death sentence. Justice for Geronimo. Don't dare stick us Supergrands in the slow lane, writes Belle Mooney. Tom Artley says, Dear reader, I finally deleted the dreaded COVID app. Now tell me that I'm wrong. Oh, fuck off. Lord Ashcroft's writing a Carrie Johnson biography. SK the Crusader, show looks shit, but dunking on the Royals is objectively good. Agreed. From Cash Cow to X Factor, they give that the whole spread on that. Scarlett sues Disney over a lost £35 million. I mean, two sets of rich people suing each other, I couldn't care less. July 30th, 2021, from the Daily Mail archive in 1948, July 30th. After the parade of the athletes at Wembley yesterday, after the King's declaration that the 14th Olympiad was open, a runner in white appeared bearing the Olympic flame. Then all the Boy Scouts who had been fidgeting with their boxes of pigeons pulled the catches and thousands of birds floated up like confetti. They flew. Chronotherm is deleting the COVID app and being too off for it. And told off for it a kink thing. I can only assume so. Happy birthday, Francis Delatour, who's 77. On July 30th, 1987, the Daily Mail wrote, 3 men blamed for the world's worst nuclear accident at Chernobyl in April last year were given 10 years hard labour yesterday for breaking safety rules. Another 3 workers at the Soviet plant were handed terms ranging from 3 to 5 years in labour camps. And of course the Daily Mail never thought, well, maybe these people aren't actually to blame. Also born on this day in 1938, died 2019, Terry O'Neill, the Essex-born photographer who got his first newspaper job with the Daily Sketch after taking a picture of a well-dressed man asleep on a bench at Heathrow who turned out to be the Home Secretary, Rab Butler. O'Neill said his secret to working with on-screen beauties such as Raquel Welch was compliments, more compliments, that's it. He photographed Faye Dunaway the day after she won a Best Actress Oscar and went on to marry her. Richard Johnson, born 1927, died 2015, rather trained actor from Essex, was Dr. No director Terence Young's first choice to be 007, but turned it down, married 4 times, including briefly to Kim Novak. Johnson was one of the stars who up-launched the Royal Shakespeare Company in 1961. He also appeared in Lara Croft Tomb Raider. On July 30th in 1968, ITV launched Magpie, its answer to Blue Peter. In 2007, US pop star Britney Spears, 25, divorced dancer Kevin Federline, 29, after less than 3 years of marriage. Quote of the day comes from Goodman Ace, the US humorist, talking about television. We call it a medium because nothing's well done. Joke of the day. How do you make a waterbed springier? Shit, I misread that. How do you make a waterbed bouncier? Add spring water. Didn't matter, did it? Didn't matter that I fucked it up because it was bad anyway. Samantha Cameron is... Apparently her business isn't done well as if it's a real business. Various other shit. Lots of crosswords and crap. They review various books. From Crimea with Love, Misadventures in the Making of Sharps Rifles. Jason Sulkey, the actor from Sharp, has written a book about making the series. Nobody recovered, 4 stars from Christopher Stevens in the TV review, and Yorkshire Firefighters, also 4 stars. In the cartoons, Garfield and John are just sort of going about their day. Chloe and Co are drinking and talking about men, and Fred Bassett is, his owners have said, does he look a bit plump? And then she strokes him and he says, okay, don't rub it in. How do you make a warbed springier? Shit is a better joke, yeah. Okay, here are the poems for today, both awful. Rhyme for our time. Oh, Mr. Hancock, you took us all for fools. That was until Big Brother caught you breaking your own rules. Boris didn't sack you, so of your own accord, you locked the door and cleared the floor and fell on your own sword. That's I.G. Fenner of New Milton, Hampshire. And today's limerick from Paul A. Freeman of Abu Dhabi. My vision is awfully bold, said Boris, though some think it cold. To keep the state running and industry gunning, forget about anyone old. Oh, Jesus. The straight to the point letters today. B. Channing of Pembroke says, a message to overrated, overpaid celebs. Real talent is on display in Tokyo. Colin Drury says, unkempt Boris knows that everyone loves a shaggy dog. Jane Anderson says, poor uptake of the vaccine among 18 to 30-year-olds. Entice them with £5 Primark vouchers. Have Chloe and Co. ever passed the Bechdel test? No. Rip off Britain, writes C. Dixon. Rip off Britain. I've been quoted £262.88 for a spare ignition key for my VW Golf. Oh, fuck off, mate. Today's recipe is sweet skewers with salted caramel drizzle. They look fine. I mean, it's literally shoving marshmallows on a stick. Pull-on leisure trousers you can get today. Grey, navy and black. Really, you know, if you've given up on life and if you're reading the Daily Mail, you probably have. Why not buy them? Some doodad for increasing your circulation. In the car thing, they review the latest Skoda. Boycott of Israeli settlements puts ice cream brand at odds with owner Unilever. That's their coverage of the Ben & Jerry's thing. And in the sport, Hamilton accused Mercedes furious Red Bull attack Lewis's integrity over crash. Erasmus ref rant leaves box in disarray. And paddle do nicely. Mallory tames the Rapids to bag a silver. That is the Daily Mail for today. I give it a quadruple negative nights. Not even any really good animal stories. Thank you for joining me today. I have been the Broken Bottle Boy. I'm going to do a roll call now. As I do that, I hope SK the Crusader will tell you when he is streaming next and what he's streaming next. So... In the chat today, I've been the Broken Bottle Boy in the mod squad. SK the Crusader, also here. Candy Impossible, Big Chunky Cat 11, excellent name. Chris McRae, Clara Bow 82, Commander Root, Farage as Fuck Face, Friar Bentos, Ged Station, Chronotherm, Lilith Miskira, Mark Canosis, Milk Extremism, thank you for resubscribing, Pantomime Horse, Red Tick Seed, and several others who have had to return to work now. I will be back at 1 o'clock on Monday for episode 66 of this season as we cruise towards episode 69, the final of season 4. And in season 5, we have all sorts of new things like guest presenters, special evening shows, and other crap. SK the Crusader tonight is back at 6 with In the Abyss, talking about Labour's shit show, Peru's new president, and finally going to end class discourse once and for all. Finally, yeah, I'll see you on Monday at 1 PM. In the meantime, have a really good weekend. If you want to find me, just get me on Twitter, and if you're not yet on the Discord, drop me a line. I'll send you the link. Will there be a Kid in the Room episode of the show? Well, we don't put her face on the internet, so maybe some kind of Kid in the Room episode where she's like not on screen. Possible. Alright, everyone, have a great one. See you Monday at 1 PM. And if you're watching this on YouTube, which you might be, remember to like, subscribe, and all that other stuff. Bye-bye for now.